what programs they used to create their boards was so creative. I am very excited for this. I know I already said that this is one of my favorite projects, but I just think it's really, really fascinating how we all kind of have the same palette. We all have a story because we've all been born here. We all have a jacket. We all have this past. It's a mixture of everything, and how we pick from such a vast pool of information, which is our own life, is fascinating to me. Anyway, so let's jump into what we're doing for week 3. Now, this is an in-person class. Yes, in-person class. We will have a lot of things to do this upcoming class. We are going to finish our monster, and we have our first skill drill, how to not die in the costume shop. So it's going to be a full class. Like I said, first we'll do the monster. So bring your monster in and we'll knock those little babies out. Then we'll jump into seminar. I guess we'll call it seminar, lecture. This one's a little less skill drilly in terms of there's nothing for you to really do, but we are going to talk about how not to die. What are safety protocols, what to wear, what not to wear, how to keep your toes from looking like mashed potatoes. Yeah, all of these things are really important, and we will talk about them. And then I'm going to get to see your jackets. And typically we'll use some of the mannequins and dress forms and things in the costume shop to help better present those. So it's really important to start deciding on your materials as early as possible, other than you picked a jacket. And yes, you can go back into the costume shop and get another one if you do not like the one that you picked, because I did make you pick this thing on day 1 before you even knew it was going on. But other than that, otherwise, when would you have time to go back in the costume shop and kind of, bump around and touch and feel things? So you have a jacket. If you don't like it, bring it back in, exchange it. You're also welcome to use something from your own personal wardrobe. If you're like, I have this jacket that I really love and I'm willing to sacrifice it. Some people go to the thrift store, they find a jacket that they actually genuinely love, and they decide to craft their project around keeping this jacket to be something that's wearable, and that becomes like another layer to the project. So deciding on your materials, and especially the jacket, is very important, as well as anything that you may need to buy or go back to the costume shop and take. We have lots of flowers, there's beads, there's shells, there's all kinds of things in there that are just sitting around. We have crowns, we have all kinds of stuff that like you could take apart and add to, the mix of your own materials palette. At least that's how I think about it. Like, I think that we have, a paint palette of colors, but we also have a texture palette. I'm using all the blacks are shiny, all the thises are dull. And then we also have like a materials palette. It's like I'm using soft things, I'm using sharp things, and so all of these are different layers that we add to our jacket, just like we have many layers of our own lives, right? So part B, using art mediums to tell your story. Just think of art mediums as like, are you using acrylic? Are you dyeing? Is an art medium like fire? Is it bleach? Like, what types of mediums? I know that can be kind of confusing with like materials versus mediums, but in the art world, that's sort of just how we divide them up. Don't trip over it. I'm sure you've already have like a long list in your head of the things that you need. And then part C, how to present and turn in your completed jacket. Like I said, we as a class together will go through each one. We'll probably have about an hour to do this, where you tell the class as much as you want to share, which can be different than the amount of information that you shared with me in your story. Again, I'm not trying to get you to expose your most inner, deepest, darkest secrets. What I am trying to get you to do is tell your story using nonverbal communication. So if you have a bad story or you have a happy story, how do you tell a happy story without in just bold words saying, I had a happy childhood, my parents were great? Be like, that's cool, but can you show that in images? Can you show that in texture? Can we sense that you had a happy childhood? Can we sense that your grandmother died when you were 5 and that really impacted you? Like, how can we feel your story by just looking at it? that's why I kind of want to get into the details of like what types of mediums are you using, what types of materials are you using, just so that we start really, really diving into the layers of your own story and we don't get stuck on the surface of like, I'm from New Jersey, so there's a patch of New Jersey. It's like, okay, well, New Jersey is also called the Garden State. Well, what does that mean? Well, what about the Jersey Shore? Oh, you're from the beach? Well, maybe it's more about the fact you grew up in the North Atlantic and less about it being New Jersey. But New Jersey isn't not a part of it. Like, how could we talk about that you're from New Jersey again without putting like New Jersey or a baseball team logo or something that is like very overtly saying it? And how can we covertly, maybe a little show and tell our stories? What is that phrase? What is it? In writing, they say, show it, don't tell it. So instead of your character always saying, I am going to go to the bathroom, I am going to do this, it's that you just do it. You just do the story instead of telling people what the story is. We'll talk more about that as we get deeper into the class. There's a whole section on how to analyze a story in Module 3, but this is sort of like the beginnings of that. So there's different ways for you to present your project. If you happen to miss class, our upcoming class, you can always make like a Google Slides or a PowerPoint and upload it into Canvas where you either do a voiceover, because I believe you can do voiceovers in both of those, or just have different slides talking about the process. So what did the jacket look like before? What does it look like on Wednesday? What did it look like on Thursday? What did it look like on Tuesday? Process pictures are key. Remember how I said this class is about process and not product? So if you are one of my beautiful, beautiful ADHD souls and you have been getting by the seat of your pants, by caffeine, nicotine, some other things that we can't talk about, and doing everything last minute, this class is not for you because you actually get graded on your thinking process. I think that it's important that we as artists reward ourselves more than just the final thing, because it really creates a lot of anxiety. And that's usually why most of us artists and us ADHD artists tend to burn out halfway through our own projects. Like, no matter how much we wanted to do it, we wanted to finish this thing, if we are not honoring the fact that every single moment that you're working on your jacket is beautiful and it is art, then the end goal is going to feel like this giant, big, scary mountain, instead of really just the fact of like taking it one step at a time and enjoying each single step as you go up the mountain and letting yourself enjoy and feel the process of ascending this mountain to your own artistic destiny. That's what we're trying to do in this class. So yes, I want to see your process pictures, images with lots of details of your jackets, close-ups, far away, the back, the inside, everything. Image descriptions of different parts of your jackets that relate to your personal story. This is the part that I want to know, but that you don't necessarily have to say in your presentation to the class. Like, this part is about the death of my cat. You don't necessarily have to go into those details with the class. But I would like to know a little bit of that, since I am a person that did read your backstory, and nobody else in the class has read your backstory. So they don't really know what this is either. And that is another cool thing, that you as an artist get to present your art to a safe audience and ask them, what do they think? What do they see? What story are they getting from your art? And then you can go into more details, in person. But in terms of what to turn in, image descriptions as they relate to the different parts of the jackets and your personal story. I also want a materials list, because sometimes y'all use things that I didn't realize. I'm like, oh, that's crayon? Or like, oh, that's this? Like, oh, you took some hair from something else and like wove it in. Like, sometimes it's just really cool things. I've had students use like real gold threads, and like they actually put gold in their jacket. It was just like really, really amazing. So, and always remember that art takes time. You cannot do everything in one night. You truly cannot do everything in one night. So tonight, do something, and really probably every night leading up until class on Friday, you're going to have to do a little bit of something on this project. But just think of it as just like, you're just going up the mountain. You're just taking one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, as you are discovering your own story and learning something in the process. So anyways, once again, we are having in-person class. Say it with me now. In-person class. One more time for the people in the back. In-person class. I can't wait to see y'all. You know, I'll have the breakfast. We'll have some tea. But we have a lot of things to do. So please be on time. You know, class officially starts at 9. It unofficially starts at 9:10 because this is Orlando and there's lots of traffic. And also sometimes like people forget things and they have to go back to their house and they need a little bit more time. I would rather you go back to your house and be a little bit late and have your stuff together and all your materials for class than for you to show up to class and not be able to do anything. You know what I mean? So anyways, I will see you at 9 a.m. where I get there. My intention is to get there at 8 because I feel like I just need that whole hour to like make sure that the classroom is set up and everything. So I just want to let people know that like if you show up early, don't feel anything. I'll be there, you know. And also you all have my phone number if you need to text me for any reason. Anyways, have a great week and I will see you soon.